Secrets Unwrapped is brought to you in part by Cooler Guard with the cleaning power of enzymes, Fish Donkey, Hoffman Lures, White Rocks Design Studio, the official design company for Outdoor Secrets Unwrapped, Sugar Mountain Trading Company, Okuma Fishing, Get Inspired, Bennington Self Storage, P-Line, J. Robinson Outdoors, Outdoor Secrets Unwrapped Hot Sauce with that big craft heat and that big craft taste, the Outdoor Experience Guide Service serving Southern Wisconsin for over 20 years, Corker Boats, and a proud member of the Southwestern Vermont Chamber of Commerce. Would you like to have your business on Outdoor Secrets Unwrapped? For more information, email us at osuradiotv@gmail.com.
Everybody, and welcome to Outdoor Secrets Unwrapped. I'm Erica Tanner, filling in this afternoon for Chris, who is out doing other things at the moment. So what we're doing today is really cool. It's a show on Dutch oven cooking, which is probably nothing that you expect it to be. And I have with me Carl Kugler, who is an expert on this, and he's going to show us the various ways to cook with it, the different types of pots that are available, and all of that fun stuff. But before we get started, welcome to Outdoor Secrets Unwrapped.
Thank you, Erica. It's
so
great being
excited to be here, and it's a top secret location, but we're in your backyard,
yes,
which is it's beautiful out here. So thank you for having us. My first question is, how did this all start?
It goes back over 20 years ago, and my roots in Dutch oven cooking came out of scouting, Boy Scouting. Mm-hmm. And I was fortunate enough to be a scout leader for my sons. My younger son, I became his den leader and cub master, and I would be out in the woods with these kids, and I needed to feed close to 50 kids desserts.
They get hungry.
They get hungry. So scouting has a lot of people that are big into Dutch oven cooking. They got me going. And I just started making desserts. And some of my pots, you'll see the bigger pots. Mm-hmm. I started with the larger pots because I was cooking for big groups.
Right.
And we would, everything from desserts to making stews and everything. And then over the years, as my son got older, I got involved more from Cub Scouts to Boy Scouts. Mm-hmm. And it was smaller pots and smaller groups of people. And over the years, I began to help teach. I had taken classes myself, mm-hmm. adult leader training, and I remember the first time I was on, it's a program called Takashin, Intro to Outdoor Leader Training, and a buddy of mine, Ed, is cooking pork tenderloin in a Dutch oven. I'm like, you can't cook meat in a Dutch oven. I cooked all these desserts, and just light bulb went off of how many other opportunities. And years later, I was helping teach that program, and I find myself now still teaching adult leaders at mm-hmm. Bigger events that the Boy Scout Council will do. And I found myself at outdoor sporting goods stores doing demos. And recently we've gone to Dutch oven gatherings where in a couple of those I've helped teach Dutch oven cooking.
I think that's so cool that there are so many people involved in this, that you're going to these places and you're having these conventions and mm-hmm. showing other people. Now, when I think of Dutch oven cooking, I'm thinking of my little Dutch oven that I have at my mm-hmm. house that I mm-hmm. cook my meat and potatoes in the oven. Mm-hmm. This is all outdoors, and you have, what did you say, you had over 45?
I have over 40 Dutch ovens.
Oh, God.
I have issues.
I have issues. It started off friendly enough and easy enough, but now you're up to 45. Now, when you get a new pot, is there like seasoning that has to be done? Like, of any kind?
That's a great question. So there are two sources of buying Dutch ovens these days. One, you can buy a used Dutch oven. With any cast iron you buy, you want to be careful because a lot of people may, especially smaller skillets and stuff, they may be using it to make their own gunshot, bullets and melting lead. So you always want to test them.
Yikes.
But you can carefully in an oven through the self-clean cycle, take it back to gunmetal gray and re-season it. The other thing to do is the main supplier in the United States, Lodge, where they're still manufactured in the United States, all their cast iron is coming pre-seasoned. So that entry level of having to know how to and go through the hassle of seasoning, you don't have to worry about that anymore.
Oh, nice.
It's coming pre-seasoned. So what you just need to do is work on making sure that you don't damage the seasoning. And you care for it properly. So those days of having to season it yourself, you don't have to worry.
Right.
But there's plenty of information online and all, and it's relatively simple to do. But yeah, you don't need to worry about that any longer.
So you started off with desserts, which is my favorite thing, by the way. Is it known for desserts, or did you just decide, I don't want to cook meat, I want to start with desserts?
It was necessity. I had to cook for these kids. We were doing simple, big dishes for the large crowds, but we wanted to have something warm and sweet, at night in this cabin out, at the scout camp. So that's where it went from there. But it's anything that you can cook inside your house, whether it's on the stovetop, whether it's in the oven. You can cook in a Dutch oven. It just comes down to where do you put the heat.
Right.
Do you put it on the top and the bottom to create an oven? Do you just do it on the bottom? Do you do it on a tripod over a fire? Do you do it on coals from a fire? But literally anything that you can cook outdoors or indoors, you can cook outdoors.
Okay. I'm thinking of myself, I'm like, I don't think about the heat on top or on the bottom. I'm throwing it in the oven, setting the timer like the recipe says, and waiting for it. So all that stuff that you have to be thinking of consciously as you're cooking outdoors and there's two ways. You could cook over the fire or over the charcoal, right?
Correct.
Yeah,
over charcoal, which a lot of people do. It's a great way to start because it's a lot easier to control heat that way. You think back, in New England, we have Old Sturbridge Village, living museum set in the 1830s. They called them bake kettles. And they used them on the hearth inside the house with wood coals. And that's how they did a lot of their baking. And it's just here we are today with what we call a Dutch oven. Paul Revere was credited with creating the rim around that keeps the ash from going in and putting the legs on. But we're dealing with a pot that's 300 years old.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
And then more recently, 200 years with the legs and all.
Well, I am looking forward to going back there. You're going to do some preparation. We're going to show how it's cooked over the charcoal and over the fire. And then we even get to taste it, which is going to be, again, one of my favorite parts. We're going to do chicken, and what else are we doing?
We are going to do a cornbread dish with honey and a lot of butter in it. And then we're going to do an apple cake.
Perfect. So we're going to move over and we're going to take a break right now, but stay tuned. Come back and join us. We'll be right back on Outdoor Secrets Unwrapped.
I'm Shannon Stover with Michigan United Conservation Clubs, and you're watching Outdoor Secrets Unwrapped with Chris Bates.
I'm gonna let this bad boy go, but wow, look at that fish!
Oh my God, that's a
Wow! The Outdoor Tip of the Week is brought to you by Bennington Self-Storage.
Hi, Dale Helgeson here with your Outdoor Secrets Unwrapped Tip of the Week. So today we're going to talk about shooting your guns, whether you're a gun hunter, bow hunter, crossbow, whatever weapons you hunt with. One of the common mistakes people make when missing an animal, right, which is always one of the hunter's fears, is why did we miss? A lot of it's target shooting. So one little tip I'm going to tell you for target shooting, whether you're using a rifle a bow, crossbow, whatever it is, one of my suggestions is when you practice, go to the range, definitely practice as much as you can, but before the season, make sure you practice with your hunting clothing on. One of the big things with having your hunting clothing on is, like, this is my summer early season clothing, this is mid-season, and then I have winter season because I live up in Wisconsin, so we have winters. Make sure you put these clothing on when you practice because it'll change what you do. Even with your gloves, if you use a bow, make sure you put gloves on with, say you use a wrist release, make sure you put that on because it changes the little bit of the dimensions of how far back and forward your wrist strap is on your hand. So make sure you do that. If you wear a face mask, make sure you put the face mask on when you practice. Especially the outer clothing, because when you, especially archery, when you pull back, sometimes that stuff will bind you up a little bit and it'll cause a little different angles. So you want to make sure it sits right. The mask is really important because of where you anchor your bow so you can see where you shoot. But even with a gun, people don't think about using a gun with your hunting clothes on. When you pull it up, it changes how far away it is from your shoulder. So make sure that you practice with your hunting clothing on before you hit the field this year. And that is your outdoor tip of the week.
Back to Outdoor Secrets Unwrapped. This is Erica Tanner and I am here with Carl, and we're about to start the dessert dish first, and we're going to do a little prep work, and hopefully when we're done we're going to have this beautiful apple cake that you have the recipe for. You've done it a bunch of times. Correct. So I'm very excited about that, but before we move on, I do want to take a moment to say wow about this kitchen station. So what am I doing here first?
So this is an apple cake recipe inspired by my late grandmother's recipe, which was from a delicious cake.
That sounds delicious.
So
all right, I'm going to start.
So if you want to start peeling the apples, I'll start mixing the cake mix, following the directions.
Okay.
And we'll be good to go.
Sounds good. Now, I personally have not made an apple cake, and nor have I ever had one, so this will be a first. Now, does it matter what type of apple that we're using here, or do you have a preference?
I love Honeycrisp apples, so that's what I had in the fridge.
Me too.
But certainly some apples are better for baking than others. Mm-hmm. But we're going to use a Honeycrisp today.
You'll see that I'm a little bundled up because
it's windy.
It is a little windy here, you know, but that's part of the fun of this outdoor cooking. And I've sliced up the apples accordingly. Thank you.
So we've got some cinnamon and sugar already mixed up.
Okay.
And we're
secret ingredient.
So if you want to move those around a little bit, and then we'll add some more. Put an egg, these 2 eggs in. Mm-hmm.
There's one.
We're just following the directions. We're going to need 2/3 cups of milk, pre-measured out, ready to go.
Making sure there's no shells.
And
we'll find it later.
Crunch, if you would like to.
Sure. Moving on to the cake. So I'm holding a bunch of different things here. What are we doing?
What we're going to do is we're going to spray it on the Dutch oven. You'll notice that this Dutch oven's a little different. We have one of these liners. And the great thing about the liners, if you're cooking out in the woods or you don't have access to water or you're doing something that's messy, these liners are made specifically to fit in this Dutch oven. And then you could just pull it out and your Dutch oven will be clean.
Oh, cleanup is easy. I like that.
Truth be known, doing the cake, it's going to come out relatively clean anyways.
Yeah.
But we wanted to be able to show that there's some options out there for you that you can get. So this is a Dutch oven liner. They're just foil. I just sprayed the inside of the Dutch oven with some standard cooking oil. And now we're just going to dump the cake mix in. Just going to sprinkle some more cinnamon and sugar, because why not?
Yes, I agree. Why not?
And we're going to take our Dutch oven
Smells
lid.
amazing.
We're going to put it on the top. We're going to give it a spin to make sure it's sealed nicely.
Okay.
And then what I want to do is every 10 minutes, I'm going to come over, I'm going to lift my Dutch oven, I'm going to give it a third of a spin on top of the coals that are below. We have a ring of coals on the bottom, a ring of coals on the top. We have a lot going on today, so our coals are getting ready to be do a ring of coals around the top and a ring of coals around the bottom. That's going to give me the ratio of heat that I need. If I wanted to count out coals with charcoal, this is a 12-inch diameter pot. I would take the diameter, add 2, so I put 14 on the top. I take the diameter, subtract 2, and I put 10 on the bottom. Some people do like a checkerboard pattern.
Okay.
But I found that especially when you have a lot of Dutch ovens going, just doing this ring method is a great way to do it. The other thing that you can do is when you get your full heat, fresh coals, bring your hand down, see how close you can get to it. This acts as your thermometer and gives you a sense. So I know I'm getting close here. I need to put more coals on.
Okay.
So you can do that.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
And we'll show in a second with the coals for the fire for the chicken.
It's a very high-tech thermometer you're
exactly.
using.
And you have 2 of them. Give it a little spray with some oil, not necessarily.
Now, clean up, not soap and water, or I mean, to be honest with you, as I'm looking at this, I'm feeling intimidated about the cleanup.
The cleanup isn't as bad as you think.
Okay.
There are purists, so you can see my heat on the bottom is a little much there, so we're going to back this off.
Roasting some potatoes in there right now.
Yep, there's nothing wrong
some
with
tri-colored potatoes.
The purists will not use soap on their Dutch ovens. They'll just scrub it out with water. I tend to do mostly that. But even Lodge, the manufacturer, has started to say you could use traditional soap, just rinse it out well.
Yeah.
And on a well-seasoned oven, it's not going to be a problem.
Okay.
So I have had times where I'll use it. I have a scrub brush here. Use a scrub brush. This is for cleaning out dairy tanks. Chainmail is good if you have a real problem, or these little scrapers to get the baked on stuff. And you just keep scrubbing, putting hot water. You never want to put cold water in your hot Dutch oven because you risk cracking your Dutch oven.
Okay.
So you never want to do that.
So we got potatoes going, we got some carrots.
And we have the baby carrots, which I know aren't babies, but
they are babies.
And then we're going to put some onions. And again, all these were prepped ahead of time. All of it was prepped ahead of time. So we don't have to do it out in the woods.
I do love the one-pot cooking though. Chris, earlier when we discussed this show, that I know nothing about Dutch ovens outside of my cast iron enamel pan that I have at home. And to be able to put the vegetables and put your potatoes and put your chicken all in the same pan and just throw it in the oven and have it all cook up beautifully together is great.
Yeah, especially when you're cooking outdoors. You don't need a ton of different pots. Is what I refer to as a wet dish. And I just put some ground rosemary. Before that, it was seasoning salt. And we have, we've coated the vegetables with that. And then,
now you call it a wet dish because?
Because there's a lot of moisture in the contents.
Okay.
Versus a cake, which is dry and you have to really watch the heat. This is more forgiving here.
Okay. Garlic.
Garlic, gotta have some garlic.
Gotta have garlic.
Thighs are great choices.
And did you season those up, or you're going to grab all the seasoning from what you've already put in the pan?
What I'll do is I'm going to do the same thing that I did with the vegetables.
Okay.
And I'm going to take and add some seasoning salt and rosemary on it.
And we're not going to take the temperature of the legs with our hands.
Nope.
There's going to be an actual thermometer.
Meat thermometer. Actual meat thermometer. Now that's a full.
All right. And now we wait while all of this cooks. Well, I wait. He's going to be busy here checking the pots, rotating things. again, being like this masterful conductor of all of these Dutch ovens. So we're going to come back. We're going to take the time to let this cook and join us in just a few. This is Erica Tanner with Outdoor Secrets Unwrapped. I'm Erica Tanner. Stay tuned for more Outdoor Secrets Unwrapped after these messages. Welcome back to Outdoor Secrets Unwrapped. I'm Erica Tanner, filling in for Chris today, and we are finishing up here, Carl. Great afternoon, great morning, learning so much about the Dutch oven cooking process and having fun being part of the recipe making. Not big, so I can't take a lot of credit, but we got the chicken that we're going to be having a little bit later. This whole afternoon, it's amazing to me how it all starts from just these one pot dishes and how you started this all off.
So it's the same Camp Dutch oven that we baked in and we cooked in and roasted in, and we could have done on the burner or bottom heat only, and it's the same pots. It's just amazing how versatile they are and all the different things you can do. And what we tried to do today was to do some things that are great for the entry-level person coming in. When I look at a recipe online, if it has more than 8 ingredients, I'm probably going on to something else.
I'm with you.
Keep it simple.
Yes.
So
you talked about some like entry-level dishes someone could try who might be curious but has never done this before, and you don't want to scare them off and say, yeah, you can do this. So what would be a recipe that you would?
Well, the chicken dish that we did today, where it's the baby potatoes that have the red skin. You don't have to do any prep. You just dump them in the bottom. That was 1.5 pounds. Yeah. We had the baby carrots. And what I like about that dish is I call it a wet dish because there's a lot of moisture that comes out of the vegetables and the chicken. So it's kind of hard to burn it.
Okay, perfect for me then.
The challenge for people starting out is the heat management. They get too much on the bottom or too much on the top. That's more forgiving. Doing the cornbread, maybe you try first without the honey and all the butter and just try making cornbread and practice with your heat management. You're not out a lot if you burn it.
Right.
Or you cut the bottom off and eat the part that's not burnt, because that's chances are where you're going to burn it. But it's just try in. There's another dish that I used to always suggest to scouts coming in that were brand new and they were just learning. And it's more of like a chili dish. It's called Boy Scout stew, and it had ground beef and canned tomatoes and canned tomato sauce and canned vegetables all dumped in together.
Yeah.
And it's very forgiving, and it's really relying on bottom heat, and you could build up that confidence in there.
Yeah, and I take a second. You did say something about the scouts, and you're a scout leader now, and you teach others to be scout leaders. So you've been doing this for a while, and that, going back to when you were a kid, is where you first saw this whole cooking method.
It's funny, I remember once seeing a scout leader cook in a Dutch oven, but it was a winter camp out. There was snow on the ground, and it was probably a simple dump cake with peach filling, but I still remember it today. How many years ago was that? More than 45 years ago, and I still remember it. And that was probably the one time. And then when I became a leader, and as I mentioned, as a Cub Scout leader, and then I started seeing it and learning more and more. You get the bug, and be careful.
Yeah, apparently you've had the bug for 20 years and going strong. So. What are 3 takeaways, or 3 things that somebody starting out should either avoid doing or it's a must do?
I think ease into your gear. I think What we use today were all 12-inch regular Dutch ovens. That's the perfect size for somebody just starting out. You can make a stew in that, and you can also bake in it. And the quantity, you don't have to make a ton of food in it. The other thing that we didn't show is that you can use a wire rack, and you could use a small baking pan within that and still bake. So if you don't want to make 2 batches of cornbread, you just need one. Use a baking pan inside there, elevated on either a wire rack, or you could even use 3 stones, small stones, just to lift it up and get some airflow, and that's forgiving. You're buying cast iron that's already seasoned, so you don't have to worry about that. We showed you the scaffolding stand, or if you have a red wagon, you can pretty inexpensively get a stand. You don't have to buy a fancy table. You can use those hog feeding pans on the ground. You don't even have to have a stand. So ease into it. What I didn't mention is that I use welding gloves. Those are inexpensive welding gloves because they tend to get dirty, so you're not heartbroken when you ruin a $25, $30 pair. But have the welding gloves. Invest, instead of spending $12 on the old style lid lifter, spend $15, $16 and get the one that clamps down.
Yeah.
That's where you want to make your investment.
And you don't have to be camping outside. You can do this outside in your backyard, as we did here today. And this may be a little bit for somebody new to all take in, but you have an incredible channel on YouTube where you put together a great variety of YouTube videos. So if somebody wanted to look more into it, where would they go for that?
So I created a channel geared towards teaching scouts, but you don't have to be a scout to watch it.
Okay.
I do it as a leader, and I have over 60 videos that talk about outdoor cooking, and they're timeless because what we're doing dates back hundreds of years, although some of the gear may be different. And it's intended to be able to give everybody that's just starting out an opportunity to learn and watch and see it actually going on. So it's called Scouter Carl. And there's a Scouter
Carl with a K.
With a K.
Just
Scouter.
like Erica with a K. I like that we have that connection.
And Scouter Carl is the channel with all the scouting related videos. And I'm also involved with a friend of mine, John, who he has the Grub Masters channel. That's been going on for even longer, and there's a lot of Dutch oven videos as well as other outdoor cooking videos in that channel. Great.
So if you're looking to find out more, or you want to investigate a little bit more before you invest, check out Carl's YouTube channel and John's YouTube channel. And now here is a plate of food. All of this cooked in the Dutch ovens. It smells amazing. I cannot wait to dive into this. If you are interested in getting involved in Dutch oven cooking, I'm going to let Carl tell you how you can reach out to him on Facebook and YouTube.
So reach out to me on the Scouter Carl Facebook page and check out the YouTube channel. It's there so you can learn, and hopefully I'll see you at a Dutch oven gathering someday.
And remember, it's Carl with a K. Now, let's eat.
Let's eat.
Bon appetit. This is Erica Tanner. You're watching Outdoor Secrets Unwrapped, and we will see you next time.
Outdoor Secrets Unwrapped is brought to you in part by Cooler Guard with the cleaning power of enzymes, Fish Donkey, Hoffman Lures, White Rocks Design Studio, the official design company for Outdoor Secrets Unwrapped, Sugar Mountain Trading Company, Okuma Fishing, Get Inspired, Bennington Self Storage, P-Line, J. Robinson Outdoors, Outdoor Secrets Unwrapped hot sauce with that big craft heat and that big craft taste. The Outdoor Experience Guide Service serving southern Wisconsin for over 20 years, Corker Boats, and a proud member of the Southwestern Vermont Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you again. May God bless you. Adios. Wise men say only fools rush in. But I can't falling in love with